Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome along to Wednesday's English session. Learning target to learn how to use imagine as a technique to develop quality sentences and apply this to chapter number 9. So these are quality writing skills. We looked at this a little bit last week. Do you remember? So it's not a technique that you'll use every single time you do writing. But by adding this to your writing toolkit, it will turn you into an amazing, resilient, quality author. Okay? So imagine is when we take a place and we then add a bit more detail, we then do a bit more describing, add in a comma, add in a colon at the end, and it creates a wonderful, detailed part to either a story or something non-fiction based. Let me give you some more examples. So, on the screen here, okay, imagine a kingdom that you could rule forever. Imagine millions of knights bowing before you. Imagine gripping all the power in Scotland in your hands. All of this could come true if you just murder King Duncan. So this particular person has used the power of 3 here for their imagined sentences. Imagine a luxurious palace to own and a kingdom to rule over. Imagine millions of servants and people to do our work. Imagine all the money we would have, colon. We could throw it all up in the air. All of the witch's predictions could come true if you just murder King Duncan. Then you will have all the power a king could ever have and a jeweled crown. Some more simple options down here at the bottom. Imagine a time when people were not afraid, comma, when life was much simpler, comma, when everyone helped each other, colon. This is a story about that time. Imagine a place where the sun always shines, comma, where wars never happen, comma, where no one ever dies, colon, in the Andromeda system, there is such a planet. So how do we use imagine? Well, once again, we start with the word imagine. And then, once we've written that brief opening start, to our sentence, we add a comma to suggest to our reader we're going to add a little bit more information. So we start with imagine. Then what we do is we describe this particular place, this thing, in one more sentence. Then we add a comma. Then we describe it a little bit more. And then as you're saying this, you're kind of taking a dramatic pause because what you're doing is being quite dramatic by adding in all of this information. So the way you would punctuate that is by using a colon. That's one little dot, a full stop, and one dot above it. And then you save the best description for the end of that particular piece. Okay, so on the screen there you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different examples of ways in which to start these sentences. Okay, imagine something, 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 where something, 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 close by something, 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 the something, 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 something. Okay. So what I want you to do today is to practice using this particular technique to develop quality sentences and apply this to chapter number 9. You'll see all 8 sentence starters here in your answer booklets, which you can use. Okay? Now I'll give you an example using the first sentence because the great thing about this particular technique is you really can use and apply it to any context whatsoever. I will prove it to you by doing an opening sentence to Little Red Riding Hood. For example, imagine a time when children were safe to walk through the woods, where there were no wolves hanging around behind trees. Close by, grandmas baked cakes for their grandchildren. The wolf would soon change this. See what I mean? Let's do it again. This time, maybe let's do it for The Little Mermaid. Imagine a time long ago, comma, far from anywhere else in the ocean, comma. You can swim to this place if you know where you can find it, colon. Never will this place be found again. That was not as good, is it? The first one was a little bit better. Number 3, let's do it for Kenzuki's Kingdom. Let's do it for the first chapter this time, okay? Imagine your father telling you one day he had lost his job, comma. The men where your father worked will never be the same again, comma. The women may have to go and find jobs themselves, colon, dramatic pause. The children will remember this time forever. So what you're doing basically is you're creating a little bit of drama, you're creating an interesting opening to a story in one long, complex sentence. Okay? So what I want you to do today is to use this technique called imagine. That's going to be your opening your first word as a technique to develop quality sentences and apply this, if you can do, to all the stuff that you hear about in chapter number 9, which I'm of course reading to you. So make sure you listen to it first of all, and then you can write your sentences all about it. Hope that makes sense. Look forward to seeing all of you at the clinics a little bit later on. Best of luck!